Welcome, everyone. Grab your seats. We are here to have our ceremonial groundbreaking for the 600 San Pedro project. As you can see, we didn't rest on ceremony or wait for ceremony in order to get started. The building across the street that you see when it broke ground was the biggest permanent supportive housing project in the state at 278 units. This one is now going to be the biggest one, so 302 units of permanent supportive housing, biggest project in the history of the state, and we're very proud to welcome you. Myself and Bill Whitty from our partner Related California are building this project, and so without further ado, I'm going to get started. There are a number of people who couldn't be here, but who, as you can imagine, these projects take loads and loads of people and coordination, so we're going to acknowledge people. I'm going to start with my COO, Tanya Boykin, and our team from Weingart. Where's Ben Rosen, Elena? You can applaud. They are all fabulous people. My assistant, Danielle. Where's Drew? Is Drew here? Drew, raise your hand somewhere. Maybe you're not here anymore. Also want to talk about our board members. First of all, our board chair, Dave Jones. Board secretary, Sean Monroe. Board conscience, Jillian Wagner. And our VP of administration, Lance Bridgesmith. A few more acknowledgments. Deputy Mayor Jenna Hornstock, where are you? There you go. Our property management partner, Peter Barker. People who were with us from the beginning and helped us get these entitlements. Craig Lawson's team. There they are. We also want to thank generally the people from Veterans Affairs, LA Housing Department, LACTA, you'll hear from Emilio Salas momentarily, HACLA, the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles. I didn't see Doug Guthrie. Is Doug Guthrie here? No. As well as I want to acknowledge the folks from CD14. Who's here from CD14? There you go. Councilman Kevin DeLeon was helpful in getting this project done, and it also has about $30 million in No Place Like Home money, which is a program he championed when he was in the state senate. And now, without further ado, the mayor unfortunately had to change her schedule at the last minute, but we get, frankly, sometimes a better choice in Deputy Mayor Mercedes Marquez. She's not saying that, I'm saying it. Just want to be clear. Come on up, Mercedes.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. Senator Murray, Kevin, I feel like there's not a week, if my week isn't complete, if I haven't spoken to either Kevin or Tanya. So it is with enormous pleasure and such hope for the future that I come to bring greetings on behalf of the mayor and the city. It is, I've been around a long time. This is my third stint in city government, and it is truly a new day in Los Angeles. The level of investment, the recognition of that we must disrupt the status quo, that we have to build a new system. I have to tell you that years ago when I left, I just never thought that it would finally happen. And I'm so pleased and so proud to be part of this new change. Last month, we announced 7,000 units of affordable housing were being expedited through the city. I want to recognize Jenna Hornstock, the Deputy Mayor for Housing, who's pushing this through along with Kevin Keller, on our Executive Director of One, to move it. Those of you that are involved with the city, that have worked with us, you know what it is to have a bureaucracy. You know what it is for folks to set a rhythm and to live by a rhythm that dictates itself, and how difficult it is to interrupt it. And that's what we've been doing all year, and it is really bearing fruit. We also got exciting news that Governor Newsom signed legislation creating an exemption for the Surplus Land Act that the mayor had helped push through to help us have better access to publicly owned property. We have to find everything. There is just no way other than to just turn everything over, figured out, and publicly owned land, not only city land, but Metro, LAUSD, community college districts. We're working with everyone to make sure this happens, and this new surplus land act will help us do that. So as I said, barriers are coming down. I want to acknowledge everyone who's worked on this project, the 298 units, 100% permissive housing. It's going to be stunning, I know. I'm looking at all the other things that are going on. It's going to transform the skyline. Who would have think that permanent supportive housing was actually going to have that kind of an impact now, and would be seen so clearly and so beautifully. I want to acknowledge particularly, Weingart, of course, but related. I don't know how long we've done business together, Bill, but a very long time. I will tell you that when I started as the housing director for the City of LA in 2004, Bill Whitty was the first call I made. Because Bill not only was a developer, but he had worked in the city of San Francisco that I'm a native of, had run public housing there. And the very first call I made on the very first morning was to Bill and said, could we please hang out? I need to talk to you. And that was the beginning of an incredible relationship. We'd worked together even before that. And so I'm just so pleased to continue to see you and an incredible team that Related has. So here we are, as the mayor says, locking arms, all levels of government. A couple of months ago, we'd been working with HUD, and I'm an alumna of HUD. And we'd been working on finally getting the types of waivers that we needed to push through vouchers, the applications, suspend all kinds of rules that just added months and months to getting people into housing. And I'm so happy that the mayor is she's relentless. And we're the first city now after COVID to receive this. We worked with the county, and so I think this is probably historic, don't you think about it? That the city and the county went together to HUD, and so that means that the region has now received this waiver, and this will spread throughout the city and the county. It's been an amazing year. So barriers are falling, housing is being built, and Angelinos are coming inside. Only because of the urgency that we have working together has this happened to solve the crisis of homelessness. I want to thank you all for hanging in all of these years, for having faith, right? For never letting go. Whether you're in a city council office, you're at a county supervisor level, you're in a department, you're in the county, you're a nonprofit, you're a bank. For all of you that have just been here to make this a worthwhile business model, to make sure that it continues, and I want you to know on behalf of the mayor, we're just getting started. So congratulations on this one. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mercedes. And I do want to make an extra comment about the city and streamlining. As you all know, anybody who's done a project of any size, bureaucracy, whether it's the city, the county, the state, or any other city in the country, is always something that is problematic. I want to particularly acknowledge the Department of Water and Power and my good friend Winfred Yancey. Wait. She and her team, including the president of DWP Board, Cynthia McLean-Hill, did something which is unprecedented in my years of public service, in that they saw a problem, they brought a group of people to help advise them on the problem, and then 2 weeks later, they actually had a motion before their board to clear up many months and maybe years of streamlining for getting power to these projects. So what they did directly affects us being able to have some of this equipment here building this project. So we very much appreciate what DWP has done. Next, I'm going to bring up, let me pause for applause for DWP. Next, I'm going to bring up our local assemblyman and a good friend of mine, Assemblyman Miguel Santiago.
Thank you, and I just want to give a big round of applause to Senator Murray, who has been relentless about tackling homelessness. Ever since I got in office, like the number 1, 2, 3 in call was about, let's go do something, let's do it different. And also the mayor's office. I got to tell you, I've been around this business for a little bit of time now, almost 10 years in the assembly. And everybody has said that there's an urgency to it. But then the actions don't match the words. And so for one of the first times that I've seen where the actions are actually matching the words of urgency. You know, right when I got into office, I remember Mayor Bass reaching out and said, hey, I saw some CEQA exemption stuff that you did and it was kind of narrow and focused. So let's blow this thing up, get the work going, make it much larger, and then CEQA exempt all permit supportive housing, emergency shelters, and affordable housing in Los Angeles. Let's go after unincorporated areas, because all of a sudden I saw actions matching words. And so I'm extremely grateful. The governor signed it, as you know, and you put a lot of hard work into that. So we're going to be able to move some of these projects a lot quicker, chop off 3 to 4 years and make sure these projects are happening, because we weren't going to tackle the issue of homelessness or see any tangible results the way we were doing it before. The status quo just wasn't working. I mean, it's on everybody's mind, right? Homelessness grew. The numbers grew. That's not a secret. That's not a secret. But that took decades in the making. Today's a new day when we're taking a look at projects that are close to 300 across the street to 287. Today we're looking at over 300. There's no way we're going to solve this unless we're taking big steps, bold actions, and moving projects like this. 300 at a time it should be, 400 at a time, 500 at a time. This, what we've now seen in homelessness, the work that we've seen, it just wasn't working. That's the bottom line. And everybody's thinking it, so we might as well say it, right? But what is working is bold steps and getting projects like this done. Senator Murray, Weingart, related, I mean, the whole host of people that I'm gonna have to list off, so I'm gonna stop right there. Mayor, a big round of applause for her. She's not here. Big round of applause. Inside Safe is working. It's bold. And so we got to get moving. And the only way we're going to solve this. So that's why I'm incredibly grateful to be here today and say that this is one huge step, a bold step, and getting homelessness solved. We're not going to do it the same old, the way it always was, because it hasn't worked. Everybody knows it's on everybody's mind. So the new way of doing it is to being bold, breaking down barriers, breaking down bureaucracy, and saying that there's a new way of doing it. And here we are, champion this way of doing it. 300 at a time, more at a time. The moment of the day the moment of the day calls for us to be urgent about it. And I'll say it very brief in Spanish. Para los medios de comunicación en español, estamos aquí orgullosos y luchando un nuevo modo de combatir a la gente que está desamparada y vive en las calles. Y de este modo es el que se va a hacer. Esto se hizo en décadas, este problema de la gente que vive en las calles. Y ahora el único modo que lo vamos a hacer es un nuevo modo. 300 unidades al tiempo, 287 unidades al tiempo, en un modo nuevo que manda urgencia en todas partes de nuestro cuerpo para atacar este problema y saber que toda la gente tiene un techo sobre su cabeza. Le doy muchas gracias a Weingart, le doy muchas gracias a Related, a la alcaldesa, que han dicho que no van a tolerar el modo que se está haciendo este trabajo. Lo ocupamos que hacer muy diferente, y ahora este es un testimonio de la diferencia en el trabajo que se va a hacer. Y de este modo vamos a cambiar esta ciudad y vamos a cambiar que tenga la gente un techo en su cabeza. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. A couple of more acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge our construction partners, Pankow. And our architecture, Large Architecture. And I want you to take a look at the design, and I think they've done a fabulous design, and it accomplished two things for us. One is, we don't want you to be able to drive down the street and look at the building and say, gee, homeless people live there. So the benefit of this is that as you drive down the street and you see that building when it's finished, it would be a building that you might think you would live in. So the idea is not to just give people basic looking buildings. And the other thing, and you notice the green wall on the side of the parking structure, was we wanted to beautify the neighborhood with architecture. And so I think we've accomplished that. And the team at large, it's a design build team, for those of you for whom that's relevant, at Pankow and Large did that. So thank you very much. Again, on the order of streamlining, one of the things that happens when we pursue large buildings like this is, for the most part, affordable housing, particularly homeless housing, ends up in the 50 units, 75 unit range. And we wanted to do scale. And for many people in bureaucracies, that is outside of their comfort zone. They just mostly don't see that. And so I really, really want to acknowledge the next speaker and the County of Los Angeles in general for helping us work through all of those differences on a very timely basis. They embraced the idea, even though it was a little bit different, and we came to conclusion on a lot of stuff. So representing the County of Los Angeles and Supervisor Hilda Solis, who was also very helpful, my friend, the head of LACTA, Emilio Salas.
Is it afternoon yet? Yes, good afternoon. Well, you know, the only thing that will brighten the day after a disappointing Dodger loss, and I'll tell you, I know we're disappointed. We'll get them next year, right? This is the only thing that will really brighten up a day like that, right? To really celebrate really the construction of a magnificent development. And it used to be that we were always bragging about going to a grand opening or a ribbon cutting once a month. Then it became once a week. Then it became daily. Now we have multiple events. I just came from an event in Pasadena, the Hope Center, that was just, had a ribbon cutting earlier this morning. And now here we are for this groundbreaking event. Now, I want to just thank everyone here on behalf of the Los Angeles County Development Authority, Supervisor Hilda Solis, the county departments of mental health and health services, and really the entire county family that was involved and was partnering with the city. And we have been in locked arms, right, dealing with this crisis. And the development of this magnitude really is so complex. I also wanted to thank our project manager, Cindy Ka, who really made this happen for the LACDA. For the county's part, the county's providing $30 million for construction and permanent financing. Also, the all-important services that will be provided by the Departments of Mental Health and Health Services, because we know that those are just as important as the project-based vouchers that are being provided by the City of Los Angeles. This is the first time I think we partnered with Related on something of this magnitude. And I know we've had a few projects with Weingart, and we've got a few in the pipeline as well. We've got quite a few, as a matter of fact. So I'm really proud that we're partnering with these two great organizations. And finally, I just really want to thank the leadership of the city and the county. And Kevin was right, when the mayor came on board, you could feel a seismic shift in how things were being addressed. And shortly thereafter, Mercedes was on the phone with everyone at the county, got everyone around the table. In fact, there was a time I was having lunch with a fellow department head, and I saw Mayor Bass there with a service provider, right? Which was not uncommon. She is constantly living and breathing this. So I really appreciate the energy with which you brought to the table, the vision and the sense of urgency. We talked earlier about removing barriers, and that was a very historic waiver request that was granted by HUD. That was like our third attempt at doing it. But it took the mayor's office and the board to pick up the phone, call the secretary directly, and it got done. And I have to tell you, you may not know this, but there's a new one in the hopper that will be going out this week. We're trying to allow for self-certification for verification of disability, which is another barrier, right? There are times you have to wait weeks for an appointment, but we want to self-certify or have the service providers be able to do that while they get that appointment down the line and keep the process moving. So you'll be seeing a letter because the city said they will join in, and we'll be sending that out at the end of the week. So on behalf of the County of Los Angeles, Supervisor Solis, I really thank her also for her vision, her leadership in making things happen in the city, in the county, and really even in districts outside of her region. So I really appreciate that. Thank you all, and congratulations to Weingart. It's Related.
You're fine. No worries. Thank you, everyone. Just on behalf of Supervisor Solis, wanted to reiterate everything that Emilio said. Thank the mayor's office, thank the assembly member as well, and of course Weingart, our dear friend Senator Murray and Tanya Boykin, for all of their work that they have done to bring this project to fruition, but several other projects that we partner with them on, including the Care First Village that's over on the edges of Chinatown. So thank you all so much for being here. I wanted to present this scroll to the Weingart Center for all of their work on this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Got it? Okay. Thank you to Daniela. And again, in terms of acknowledging people on the ground, another round for Daniela, who's sort of with us every day and sometimes in the middle of the night. And so batting cleanup, let me bring up our great partner, Bill Whitty from the Related Companies.
Thank you, Kevin. So I don't know, was it 3 years ago? I knew Tanya Boykin from her days at Mercy Housing in San Francisco, where we were working with her and them on the largest Hope 6 public housing redevelopment project in the state. Still working on it. And she introduced me to Kevin, and I listened. He told me what they wanted to do. Now, they hadn't started construction yet on the first tower, and Kevin told me what they were trying to do, and I said, "You want to do what?" And I started going down the list of things. I think, well, then you're going to have this. You're going to have to get that. He goes, "Yeah, got that. Yeah, they're going to do that." And I said, "Wow, never seen something like that before. It's usual. We'd like you to get involved. We have no idea what we're doing. Can you help?" This was the opposite, and I was a skeptic. And the more I learned, the more I said, "Wow, this is amazing." So my hat is off to Tanya and Kevin and Ben for bringing this. This is the second such building that they're doing here. And as you've heard already, there's nothing bigger. There is nothing more that's going to make a bigger difference than these two sites, and we're very pleased to be involved in this one. But the other reason that we're here, and again, forgive me if I sound like a broken record. First of all, Mercedes, was it really 2004? Wow. Yeah, I've known and worked with Mercedes forever, and I remember when Mayor Bass got elected, it was going to be about homeless. I said, "Oh boy, better get somebody strong and experienced." I mean, you have, forgive my language, you have to have balls to do this. And they hired Mercedes. Oh my God, it's like the perfect person. But the second thing I would say now, and we do affordable housing all over the state, we're very active in the Bay Area as well as here. No city, and you can quote me, well, maybe don't say it in San Francisco, but you can quote me, no city has a more experienced, competent housing staff now than the city of LA does. And that's another reason why we're here and why Kevin was able to put together this program and this package. And I have to also, because I learned along the way, it wasn't just the city, it was the county, it was the State Department of Housing and Community Development. At every step of the way, there could be no hiccups. You had to stay on schedule, you had to meet this test, you had to be able to do that, and they did it. And all of them, if any one of them didn't do all of those things, we wouldn't be here today. Now, hopefully we can lend, at a minimum, our expertise in high-rise housing. I mean, not on this project as much as Kevin, but we work directly with Supervisor Solis on our Grand Avenue project on Bunker Hill, another small project in downtown. And so hopefully, we can be helpful on the technical side. The other thing, let me say, I want to thank our staff, Colby Northridge and Chris Johnson, who are here, who did all the work, really. And our friends at HACLA, with whom we have several partnerships, without whose subsidies, again, we wouldn't be here. But I got to give a lot of credit to the mayor. I wish he was here to see this, because I've worked for two mayors, we've been all over the place. These just don't happen if you don't take the lead. And as Kevin said, get people in a room, or as Emilio said, get people in a room and get the city and the county together. And they really did it. And I hope that's a model that will be followed. And lastly, as Kevin said, we're just getting started too. He didn't mention it, but we're working with Kevin and Weingart. We were awarded by the state a surplus site on Washington Street to do 300-unit buildings, one of which would be permanent supportive housing, the other two affordable. We are also, with a community of friends, the designated developer for a city-owned affordable site in Echo Park. So we have a lot going on, and we're going to continue to do a lot. And that's because of the people you heard here today. So please give them another round of applause. Thank you.
Again, just another round of applause for Bill and Related. He described the process pretty accurately, but Related is a big company that's doing a lot of things, and they didn't have to say yes to this project. And so we really appreciate that they did, and that we're serving the most vulnerable population with them, and they've been dedicated along with us right away. So that's all the speaking, folks. Now it's time for the pictures. So what are we, Jill?
I would be remiss if I didn't tell you. Does not affordable. We're making comments, which I can see about